Hi everyone, I am going to show you how to take a template from Canva, in this case a mailer letter, and use it to create both an email header and content along with a social media post. And this is really just a method you can use for any of the items you create for fundraising throughout the year. We're going to start in Canva, and this is the first team member profile, and you go to projects. And then I like to go to folders just because it helps me stay organized. And then in fundraising, this is what's shared with the entire network. Under fundraising and general fundraising, there are a lot of different items for you to use here in your end of year or all year fundraising efforts. And for today's purposes, I am going to use this mailer template that has been designed. Now you can design this in another platform and import it in as a PDF and get the layers, or you can design directly in Canva, or you can use one of the templates that we've shared. So I'm going to click on this template, and I do want to say use template. If you go to open original, it will open the file, but you won't be able to make any edits on it. So when you go to use template, then it's going to create a copy in your account, and then you can change it to whatever label you want to use to be able to find this. So for us, this is testing end of year mailer in Canva, and that's what I'm going to keep this as for now in my account, so I know which one I used today. And then here, the template has a lot of things that you can update, personalize, you can change any of the text, images. It's 100% customizable for you. At the very least, you're going to want to make sure you put your chapter name, your chapter logos, and your identification information. And if you have a photo and quote from someone at your chapter, I would highly suggest using that as well. If you don't, you can definitely use some of the quotes and images that we have here in the template. You can take these items, and once everything is in Canva laid out how you want it to be, and you've updated the template or you've created your own, then Canva has a great resizing tool, and this is what you're going to use in order to create an email header and social media post from this same design without having to build everything from scratch. So you go right here to resize, and then you can search at the top for what you're looking for. In my case, I want to do an email header, so I am going to type in email, and I'm going to say email header here. And you want to copy and resize. If you only resize, it's going to change this template you're working on instead of keeping it and creating a new one as well. So copy and resize. And as you can see, it has now given us the same name, but email header. So I want to actually delete the part where it says mailer up here in the name and just keep it as email header so that it's all consistent. And then it's pulled the full letter form in. And this is definitely not how you want this to look in your email. That's too much information. What you really want is just this top portion to become the header of your email so that you can copy and paste the text into the body. And then you can link to your donation site. So what you want to do here is really easy. You take your mouse, you click, you drag on all of this information that's at the bottom that you're not going to need, and you delete it. And then you take your mouse and your cursor and you drag over all the information that's there still, and you drag it out to take up the full space of this email header. And once you do that, it is not going to be perfect. You're still going to have to do some work, but you're really close to having an easy email header with minimal effort after copying and resizing. So now I'm going to look first at my logo. I feel like that's probably a little bit large for email header, so I'm going to scale it down. If you have your logo that appears in a standard place at the top of your email or somewhere else within your email, you don't even have to include this. You can remove it, but I'm going to leave it for today's purposes. And then you can see here that the text is just too large. It's going off of the header, so I want to scale it down just a little bit and then move it up. Get it in a place that I really like it. Now you can play around with the layout. Maybe you want it to take up more of this bottom space. Maybe you want it to be navy in your email, so you change that around. And you want to make sure that your image is in a great spot for you. Now, You can also change the image out if you wanted to use the same background, but say your email is going to the same set of people your physical mailer is going to. You don't want it to be a complete duplicate. So maybe you switch out the quote and the image, but you leave the patterns and the colors the same. And you have a lot of options with this. This is just one way to do it. So now that I've got my email header where I like it, and I've got my image, everything's ready to go, the next step is going to be to save this. So I'm going to share. And then I'm going to go to download. And for me, what I like to do is save it as a JPEG. I like to increase the size just to make sure it's nice and crisp. I'll go to about 2.5 here. And then I want to make sure the quality is at 100% because you don't want this to be blurry. You don't want your image to be pixelated. If you happen to download this and put it in your mail platform and it doesn't look correct, come back and make it even larger. So then I'm going to download, and this is going to download to my computer. My computer pops up with an image for me to view and make sure everything looks correct. If that doesn't happen on your side, you'll want to open it and make sure it looks right on your system. So then, before I leave Canva, I want to take this and I want to turn it into a social media post. So again, I'm going to come up to resize. I'm going to go to Instagram post, copy and resize. Again, I'm going to update the title here so that if I go back and look for this, I know exactly what I'm looking for and which version I'm using. And then again, I'm going to take and scale the background. Get it how I want it to be. So that's a good start. And for this particular one, I'm going to make sure that the image and the background look pretty good. And then I'm going to work with the text because that is a lot of text for a social media post. So I'm probably going to scale it down and reduce the size of this quote. I'm going to move the logo down here. And this quote, to me, is just a little bit long for a social media post where I'm also making sure that I want to include an image. So I'm going to work with the size, and I'm going to go, okay, to me, the meatiest part of this quote is where she's talking about how the coaches were supportive, and her biggest takeaway is that family doesn't have to be blood. So I'm going to keep that part of the quote, but I'm going to go in here and I'm going to make this larger. I'm just going to keep playing around with the text and the image until I get it the way I want it to be. And so there you go. So I have taken what started out as a mailer that was designed, and within just a couple of minutes, I have resized it into an email header and into an Instagram post. Now I have MailChimp pulled up, so I'm going to show this to you really quickly. And what I did is I imported that header and I dropped it in and I copied and pasted the same exact text into the body. If this is going to 2 different audiences, that's okay. If you have overlap, you're going to want to change this up. You don't want someone to get the exact same email and physical mailer, but you can definitely start with the same thematics and same basic design. So I've got the content in here, and then I would add, a button in here too that would go to whatever your donation page is for Instagram post. You've got the quote in here, but you can then go to this text again and look at what is the most meaningful piece or the call to action that you want to pull from this copy and pair with your Instagram or Facebook post. This is a great way to use resources and templates that are here and to quickly and easily turn them into additional assets that you can use for your chapter. As always, if you have any questions or anything to share with us for a brand review, please send it to support@firsttee.org. Thank you.